welcome back to the channel. As always, if it's your first time watching, then welcome in general. You're going to notice that this little thing right here that I'm recording is a little bit, well, not chronologically correct. As you can see, we already have the quarter panel cut off the car, and the reason for that is, well, I kind of lost track of where I was with recording and decided, oh, I'm going to rewatch some of the footage that I recorded, and I realized didn't get any of the audio when I recorded that. So we're redoing it, and hopefully this time it works, because I'm not doing it again. It'll just be dubbed over and sound like, you know, some weird Japanimation thing or something. But anyway, we're working on the Hurst holds again. If you checked out the previous video, you saw we got the rocker panels, both inner and outer, replaced on it. Now we're moving on to the quarter. I didn't touch base on anything because I kind of thought it was common sense, but I should probably, since common sense isn't that common anymore, figured I should probably explain that if this is something that you're doing on your own, now this isn't a tutorial, but if this is something that you're doing on your own, make sure that you have like fire extinguisher available close by, doing any welding, get your interior panels out or at least protected, and also your glass. A lot of times people don't think about that. The sparks and slag and everything from welding will damage your glass. You'll notice I have done none of that. And here's the reason. My interior is trash and my glass is too. I don't know if the previous owner scraped ice off the windows with a piece of angle iron or what, but it's all scratched up, so I don't really care about this glass. But you probably actually care about your car if you're going to go through this amount of work, so protect it. Anyway, we're going to get started on doing this, even though I've already started this. But anyway, don't worry. We'll go back. I do have some other footage of what I actually did. And yeah, here we go. I figured I should kind of stop here and kind of explain what I did, I guess, even though it's not a tutorial. Took the wire wheel and kind of went around the wheel arch so I could see where all the factory spot welds were. Took, center punched them, used a spot weld cutter, which is this little guy. Drilled out all those and then just kind of pulled them away. They use some sort of a seam sealer or body adhesive or something on this wheel tub. So, and I found that when I cut out this chunk to do the rocker. So I wanted to get that kind of peeled apart so that I could kind of free it up from that. And then I just zipped this out to make it easier, because just cutting that out is easier than cutting the whole thing off right away. And then I couldn't, this part was obviously a little more rusted than the rest of the wheel arch, so I couldn't really see where the spot welds were. That's why I kind of stopped it down here and then cut this off the rest of the way and did that separate, so that way I didn't mangle up the wheel arch trying to find all those spot welds. And I gotta clean that up before we weld anything else on it, but no big deal. I'm gonna get the rest of this zipped out, and then we will get the new piece and see how it does or doesn't line up. Alright guys, that's all there is to it. They just fall right on, and then magically you don't have to do any more work. Okay, that's not really how it works. Let me unclip you off the tripod here, and we'll show you what we got going and why I am doing it this way. Obviously, I just have the panel kind of laid up there. It's not cut to where we're going to cut it, and it's just clipped with under the wheel well arch there. So obviously, you know, this comes, it's got this door edge bent and it's got the rear edge bent. If it fits directly over the car with no effort whatsoever, then it's obviously too big. It is not, that's not right. In order for that to fit, it technically should be tighter than that, I guess is what I'm trying to say. The other issue, and I don't know if you can see it with the light here, but this body line that's in this new panel pretty much sucks. So not a big fan of that. Especially when you get up right here to the door, it loses all of its definition. So that's kind of, it's crappy. I'm not really a fan of it. I'll be real honest, I am not a fan of these patch panels. If I ever am dumb enough to do this job again, I am not ordering these pieces of crap. They are unimpressive. These are the CHL brand. I don't know. I got them on GBodyParts.com, and it's nothing. It's not their doing it. Actually, I'm not sure where I got these. I think that's where I got them. It doesn't matter. I think they sell these too. But there are other ones available that have got to be higher quality than this. You can also just get the wheel arch replacement. You can get, I think, the front and rear lower portions by themselves, and then you don't have to get all up into this junk. But my thought process was to order the whole thing and then use what I needed, which is going to be the majority of it. So anyway, here's what my plan is. I am just going to zip this off probably pretty close to its bend here. So, because remember, I've got 1.5 inches or so of the original metal on here. But if I zip this right off along this edge and then basically cut it right along the body line here, and then I am going to, this is where it's going to be tricky. I did end up having to cut this back further. I'm probably going to literally cut it right on the edge here and just get rid of all of this crap that's formed here other than my wheel arch. At that point, I can start putting it up against it, clamping it to the wheel arch. That way that gets the positioning where it needs to be, gets the panel up tight against the original metal that's still left up top, and then I can go in from the back side and mark it where it needs to actually be cut. And in theory, that should be good to go then. One other thing, and I don't know if I mentioned it on this video, but the other thing that these panels really suck, this is where the panel stops, is right here. It doesn't give you the piece that goes back and down onto the pinch weld. So, you know, the part that always rusts out. So we're going to have to create that somehow. Maybe we can take part of what we cut off up here, flip it around and turn it around, weld it on and make our own edge for that. Same thing back here. It doesn't include, I know the light's poor, I'm sorry. It doesn't include this piece here that welds to your trunk drop down. Why? Why would you make this and not have that? That's stupid. But whatever. We'll make something work out of it. As you can see, just like when I did the rocker panels, frames rebuilt with some spray paint. It's perfect. We're gonna do a little vice grip garage on this and pretend we didn't see all the rust inside the wheel wells. Pay no mind to that. Didn't see it. All right, moving along. Let me get some stuff zipped off here. can't really set up the camera. I'm kind of running out of room here. I got a mess going on. So I've had this interior out of this car like 3 or 4 times. This is a complete side note. Bear with me. So I'm missing these back panels for the seats. If you have any and you want to get rid of them, I need basically all the trim for the seats, you know, just because I don't have those. Never did I notice that we got a build sheet for the car, so we're going to have to kind of dig that up. That's kind of cool. That'll probably tell me something like, hey, it's not a real Hurst Olds. Well, whatever, we're into it now. So anyway, I'm going to hack up some junk here and stick it back on, and then bring it back. It'll look almost the same, and show you what exactly it was I was talking about. All right, I've got all the edges cut off, got the piece put back on here, and just to kind of explain what it was I was doing, there's a body line right here, and what I did is I laid it flat up against the panel and lined up the body line on the existing body to the body line in the new panel, and then did the same back on the quarter back, like the far back over here. Once I got those kind of lined up, clamped it with just some vice grips to the inner wheel well. Those will have to be, that'll all have to be massaged so it's a nice tight fit when the time comes. But for right now, this is all lined up. What I'm going to do, I'm going to pull out the tub inside here that houses the steering, or not steering, the seat belt. And that'll give me access to the inside back behind this panel. And then the rest of it I can get from inside the trunk. And I'm just going to trace it out with a silver Sharpie so that I have a line to kind of zip it off. And hopefully that works. Because if it doesn't, that's going to suck. But we'll figure it out one way or another. Because unfortunately, if I screw this up, these panels are now almost double what they were when I ordered them. So, and they're crap to begin with, so I'll be damned if I'm going to spend double that again for a replacement. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. Okay, we are back, and we're in real time, as you can tell by what I'm wearing, I guess. I don't know. If you're paying that close of attention, then it's a little weird. But anyway, I know this will come as a shocker to a lot of you, but we found more rust. When I cut out the quarter here, in the trunk drop down here, the bottom edge that's got the pinch weld there, it was a little bit rustier than I really felt comfortable trying to weld to again for the new quarter. So we did go ahead and address that. I'll turn you around and kind of show you what we got hopefully here. Just this edge right here was rusted out. In fact, this is the old piece. And you can see it is holy and very thin and flimsy and just kind of bent. So, yep, not welding to that. So we just took a piece of the old wheel arch here, this part, so you have a visual reference. And I just cut off a chunk there that was the same size, roughly, like that. And then we just welded it on so we've got something actually substantial to weld to. Not a big deal. The rest of the drop down is actually in good shape, so surprising because these usually rust out too, apparently. But anyway, now that we have that in place, we're at a point where we can actually start trimming our patch panel. I did take it, you saw in the clip, and again, part of this is me backtracking and explaining what I did because I don't remember exactly what I recorded. But over here, we did lay it up there and we marked it out with a silver Sharpie. And then I put the blue tape on there just because it's, when I'm cutting, it's easier for me to follow a tape line than the sloppy Sharpie line. So that's just me. It's easier for me, so that's what I'm doing. I'm going to put the panel back up there, double check it, make sure I'm happy with it before I cut it, and then we will take the death wheel to it and start hacking at it. All right, guys, just a quick update. It is actually the next day now. I only got a couple hours of time to work on this thing in the evening, so that's why, you know, it's a whole lot of, hey, it's the next day, but there's not much progress. I did do some stuff today, but I didn't record it because it's a whole lot of taking this stupid panel on and off a bunch of times trying to get it fitted. And I got it pretty close, kind of turn you around, show you what I got. It's still got to come off at least once, if not 20 more times, but making progress with it. I think it'll work. I haven't boogered it up too bad yet, so that's promising. So let's flip you around here and we'll show you what we got going. All right, so I've got it fitted. All these little clips right here, those are just some crappy little Harbor Freight clips. Supposedly when you weld sheet metal, you're supposed to have a little bit of a gap or whatever. I don't know. Something about having adequate penetration with the weld. I don't know. I've got a whole ton of them in there because they're not only holding the panel straight, but there's not much, once you get it cut like this, there's not much that you can clamp to other than I've got a couple pairs of vice grips in the corners of the wheel well. Does have to come back off. Again, like I said, we have a little bit more grinding that we've got to do along this back edge of the panel here. I had to cut it right at the edge here. So I've got to do a little bit of grinding on this edge right down here to get it to sit back in there where it needs to. And then that'll be good to go. This bottom edge down here, I was able to get this bent. If you remember before, like if this is straight, it was only bent at a slight angle. Took a couple of pieces of 1/4 inch steel, clamped it on either side with vice grips, and then was able, it's basically a makeshift sheet metal brake, and was able to bend it so that it actually goes up in there the way it's supposed to. Gonna take a grinder and kind of zip the edge of this off so I can make sure I can get the panel to push back in as far as it needs to. And then I'm gonna take my sheet metal brake and actually bend a piece that'll, I'll call it a 90. It's a little bit stronger than a 90, but it'll be the piece that'll weld to this bottom edge here that we repaired. And then I'll get it kind of placed up in there, mark it. When I pull the panel off, we'll cut it off, weld it. Then I'll have an actual edge to work with there. Up front here, we've got to do kind of the same thing. I've already kind of taken the body hammer and tapped this little edge right here at the right angle. And I've already zipped this right here, and we'll do the same thing. We'll clamp it with a couple pieces of metal and we'll bend that, and then we can make a piece to go onto the actual edge there. And then once everything is all welded there, we'll seam seal the crap out of everything from the inside. Before this goes on, I got to seam seal all the stuff that's inside there. Hopefully I don't forget to do that, but yeah. Anyway, the other thing we got to do, the lip around the wheel well is stupid wide. So we're going to go ahead and trim this off. And then we also have to take on the inner wheel well and massage it and bend it out, because this opening is actually smaller than the wheel tub opening, so you can't really spot weld them together. It's in some areas it's a significant gap. Like right here, this is tight, but like right here in this corner, right here, we've probably got, you know, a little less than 1/4 inch gap. Same with up top here, but this has some play to it to squeeze it together. But we just kind of got to massage that so it's a little bit tighter so we can spot weld it. But just wanted to give you an update on where we're at with things. I got to take all these stupid clamps off again, do some massaging, put it back on, see what I screwed up, take it all back apart, do it all again. And it's a long process. So I'll fill you in when we get to where we're going to actually start welding at it. All right, guys, it is finally the weekend again, so I can actually work on this for more than like an hour or so. It's hard for me to get anything done during the week. Time I get home from work and eat dinner, can't miss Wheel of Fortune. It's too good an entertainment watching people that can't spell try to solve spelling puzzles. Anyway, by that time, I'm wiped and I can't seem to get much done in the evenings, but it's the weekend now, so we can hopefully get some stuff taken care of on this, and hopefully we can start welding this panel in. I think in the last clip I mentioned that we had to take the panel on and off a couple more times. We have done that. It'll still have to go on and off a couple more times, but I was able to get the bottom lip on the backside down here trimmed off so the panel can push back in there. And then I got the front lip behind the door, got that bent. Got a couple of pieces of sheet metal bent up in a 90. We got to trim those. We'll stick those up there, mark them where we need to cut them, and then we'll pull the panel off and hopefully weld those pieces on first. Then we can put it up again, trim them, then go through and punch holes to be able to spot weld with. And then hopefully that will be the last time that we have to put it back up and actually start welding it in. I'll try to do some time lapse here, and yeah, that's where I am with it. Like I said, hopefully this is the day that we can actually start making some forward progress with this, because it definitely does not seem like it's had any progress made in a while. So without any further ado, let's get to screwing some stuff up here. Okay, I know I said I was going to time lapse it, and I tried. I really did. I set up the camera, I turned it on, I hit record. What I didn't do is I didn't check the battery, so it immediately died. And I didn't notice because my wife came in to tell me she was leaving for the afternoon. So, sorry, you missed that. But here's what we got. Welded these little pieces in, and they're, for right now, it's hard to get a shot of it. They're just a couple of tack welds on either end. Hold them in place, pull the panel back off, and I'll weld those solid. And got this one right here too. This little corner will kind of grind and massage that into position when we do the final welding. Anyway, at this point, I think I can actually take this panel off, punch all my holes in it for all the spot welds, all around the wheel well, all the way around the rockers, all that crap. Get that all prepped. Seam seal the inside pocket there. And then I think we're actually good to go to start welding this stupid thing into place. I'm ready to be done with this side because unfortunately I have a whole nother side to deal with. But on that note, the other side, we might just do the lower sections. I think the wheel arch is actually good over there, but I honestly haven't really looked. So we'll find out. Anyway, let me get it pulled off, get some stuff welded up, and we'll move along. guys, as you saw in the time lapse, because the battery actually didn't die this time, did get my first set of tacks in, removed all the clamps, and then kind of went through and took the angle grinder and kind of ground the tops of the little spot welds down just to kind of clean it up a little bit. But it is now holding on its own, so I just need to go through and keep stitching along and fill up all the gaps, and then grind it all down smooth. Then it should be ready for filler. I didn't show it, but I did get the seam sealer on the inside of the rocker panel. I also ran a bead of seam sealer all the way around on the outer edge of the wheel well, because the factory had some sort of a seam sealer or bonder or something in there, so I went ahead and basically recreated that as well. Can't really see it, but it's in there. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm not even going to bother time-lapsing it. I'm going to go ahead and kind of stitch it all in, grind it all down, and show you what the finished product is, and then we can kind of move along to probably throw some primer on it for now. It's going to be a while before I screw around with filler and everything. I'm going to get the other side done before I start doing any filler or anything like that. So yeah, that's where we are with it right now. Like I said, I'll bring you back around when we got it ground down and ready for filler. So it's 3 weeks later. I haven't touched the car other than yesterday. I worked on it a little bit. Basically, I did something, hurt my shoulder and my neck. Couldn't move very well, you know, beyond going to work every day, and that was even a chore. Losing feeling in my left hand and arm strength. I don't know what's going on with that. But basically, for 2 weeks, I lived at a chiropractor after work, trying to get that straightened out. And so couldn't work on the car. Then the wife and I went on vacation that we had scheduled, went down to Arizona and went to the Barrett-Jackson auction, not to buy anything. We don't have that kind of money. But I will recommend, if you've never been to Barrett-Jackson, it's definitely worth checking out. There's a lot of cool stuff to see. I mean, we get the week-long passes when we go to it, and you can go through there every single day, do something different, you know, spend a couple hours there every day, and it's amazing it's like a giant car show. But anyway, it's not why we're here. Yesterday, I did finish welding everything in, so I think we're going to kind of call it a video right there. I didn't record, you know, sitting there and tack welding it every few inches and then grinding everything down smooth, because it's stupid repetitive. But basically, yeah, it's done. A couple of things I learned on it. When I do the other side, I'm going to try to drop where I cut it down a little bit further away from this body line. And the reason for that is back behind your pillar here, or your sail, or whatever you want to call it, there's a structural brace that goes down through here. And when you're all said and done, if you have to do any body working with a hammer and dolly or anything, blocks you. And I don't know if the light picks it up, but I've got a heck of a low spot right here, and that's my own fault that I didn't pay attention when I was welding that. But thankfully it's low, so filler can go over the top of it. On that note, one thing I didn't expect to have happen is on this seam running down next to the door, when you put heat to that, and you know, you try to skip around and not warp the metal or anything, I didn't expect that would kind of suck in. So this was sunken almost 1/4 of an inch, and you could take a piece of metal and just lay it across there, and the weld going down was about 1/4 of an inch back. It was really not good. I ground stuff down smooth, which basically made a valley right there. But then I went through, I've got a Harbor Freight stud welding tool and a slide hammer, and I just put studs all the way down that and then just used the slide hammer and knocked them out. It's still low, and I would rather it be low than too high. So I've got it knocked out now where it's about a 1/16 to, at the very most, an 1/8 of an inch low. I'm fine with putting filler over that. I don't really care. How it's going to look when it's all said and done, I don't know. I'm not super concerned about it. This is all just practice for me. If it turns out like crap, oh well. You know, if I really wanted to worry about it, I've got another Cutlass sitting outside. I can take the body off of that one. It's got a good body, and put it on this frame and, you know, call it a day. But my whole purpose in doing this is I want to learn how to do it. You watch it on TV, you watch YouTube videos like this, and never get a chance to try it yourself. This is my chance to try it myself. That being said, got a whole nother side to do. Rocker panels, quarter panels, all that crap. I'm not going to record the other side because it's going to be the same thing as this. Like I said, I'm just going to take this down a little bit further to get away from that bracing back in there. But, you know, I'm not going to record that. Not sure when the next video is going to come out. Fortunately and unfortunately, monetarily it's fortunate, but I believe I have a couple of projects for work that are going to be out of town, so I'm not going to be home in the evenings every night to be able to work with this. So might be a little while before we get back on it, but you know, I'll record and do stuff as I can and get videos to you as I can. So make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave me a comment down below. Tell me about all the things I did wrong on this, because I know I did things wrong, but whatever. Till the next time, we'll catch you later. Thanks for watching.